bringing you the news 24 hours a day, 7 days per week, with a fresh approach. www.999wefm.com. WeFM News, online, on demand.
Good afternoon and welcome to WEFM's Midday News, brought to you with the kind compliments of Court St. Vincent Limited.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines, get ready for Love Notes, Love and Laughter on the 3rd of August, 7 p.m. Join us as we transform the Victoria Park into a theatrical marvel featuring the one and only king of Jamaican comedy, Oliver Samuels and Friends. Also featuring at Love Notes, the man himself, king of the strings, Darren Andrews, international smooth jazz saxophonist, Kobe Fadlin, Italian jazz Mediterranean guitarist, Samuel Vivian, the soothing sounds of Khalid Peters, lifted our spirits, the energetic gospel machine, Ronnie Richardson, the Arabesque Dance Company, Vincentian chart-topping R&B sensation, Judy Boucher, and many more surprises. Tickets available at Courts Kingstown, Randy Supermarket Arnesville, Imperial Pharmacy Kingstown, The Sale Joshua Center, Super Health Pharmacy 1 and 2.
Welcome back to WeFM's Midday News, brought to you with the kind compliments of Court St. Vincent Limited. I am your presenter, Rajiv Providence. First, on the local scene, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force has launched an investigation following the discovery of a partially decomposed body in Friendship Canal 1. According to police reports on July 23, 2024, authorities responded to a call reporting a male body found in a house at Friendship Canal 1. The deceased has been identified as Carly Compton, a 58-year-old laborer from the area. Medical personnel who arrived at the scene pronounced Mr. Compton dead upon their arrival. A post-mortem examination is scheduled to determine the cause of death. Meanwhile, police investigations are ongoing to establish the circumstances surrounding Mr. Compton's death. In a statement, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force expressed their commitment to conducting a thorough investigation into the incident. Despite the devastation caused by the passage of Hurricane Beryl, plans are currently in place to have the cruise ship port opened for the upcoming cruise season. This is according to Minister of Urban Development, Energy, Seaports, Grenadines Affairs and Local Government, Banava Brown. Dr. Ralph Gonsalves during consultations scheduled for this week. The consultations aim to address a range of critical issues stemming from the disaster, including the government's response efforts, ongoing relief operations, plans for recovery and reconstruction, and the anticipated reopening of schools in September. The first consultation is scheduled for today, Wednesday, July 24th, at the Methodist Church Hall, commencing at 3 p.m. Following this, another consultation will take place on Thursday, July 25th at 1 p.m. in Clifton, Union Island. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, this past Sunday during a call to WEFM's Issue at Hand program, emphasized the importance of these consultations in ensuring that the government's efforts align closely with the needs of those affected. He underscored the government's commitment to a transparent and inclusive recovery process that prioritizes the well-being and long-term resilience of Union Island communities. On to news in the region. A new report from UNAIDS reveals that the Caribbean region has the potential to end its AIDS epidemic by 2030, but only if leaders take decisive action now. The report, titled The Urgency of Now, AIDS at a Crossroads, highlights both progress and challenges in the fight against HIV/AIDS in the region. According to the report, the Caribbean has made significant strides in HIV treatment and prevention since 2010. However, the pace of progress has slowed in recent years, particularly in reducing new infections. Dr. Richard Amenya, UNAIDS multi-country director for the Caribbean, emphasized the need for targeted interventions. The report highlights 4 countries: Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and Jamaica account for 90% of new HIV infections in the region, with Haiti alone responsible for 38% of new cases. While treatment coverage has expanded in the Caribbean, with 70% of people living with HIV now on treatment, significant challenges remain. Late diagnosis and difficulties in enrolling and retaining people in care continue to hinder progress. Particularly concerning is the low treatment coverage for children, at just 39% compared to adult coverage. The Dominican Republic has extradited 2 of its citizens to the United States to face charges of electronic fraud and money laundering. The National Directorate of Drug Control, the NCD, reported that Felix Manuel Reynoso Ventura and Rafael Ambirix Rodriguez Guzman were handed over to U.S. officials at the international airport at the Americas under tight security measures. The extradition was carried out in accordance with executive decrees, which authorized the transfer. The National Directorate of Drug Control oversaw the operation. The 2 men were initially arrested in Santiago as part of a broader operation that involved other Dominican nationals also facing extradition. The arrests were conducted jointly by DNCD agents and members of the Public Prosecutor's Office. On the international scene, a man in the U.S. state of Michigan used an all-terrain vehicle, ATV, to run over and critically injure an 80-year-old man who was putting a Trump sign in his yard, in what police have described as a politically motivated attack. The 22-year-old suspect in Sunday's vehicle ramming in the city of Hancock called police to confess before apparently taking his own life, authorities say. Before targeting the elderly man, police say the suspect vandalized 2 parked vehicles, smashing the windows of one that displayed a Trump sticker and damaging the tires of another that had a sticker supporting police. The rampage took place just over a week after a 20-year-old would-be assassin attempted to kill Donald Trump at a political rally in Pennsylvania. The 80-year-old man was taken to the hospital with critical injuries after being struck from behind by the suspect's ATV. On Monday, police went to a nearby home after receiving a call from a person who said he wanted to confess a crime involving an ATV driver within the last 24 hours and asking police to come pick him up. When officers arrived at the home, they found the suspect dead from what they believe was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Finally, in sports, Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola says he cannot be sure Ederson will remain at the club this summer. The Brazilian goalkeeper has been the subject of interest from the Saudi Pro League. Guardiola said at the end of last season he still regarded Edison as his first-choice goalkeeper, even though he chose backup Stefan Ortega for the first leg of their Champions League quarter-final with Real Madrid. Speaking after his side's 4-3 friendly defeat by Celtic in North Carolina, Guardiola said that he'd like him to stay, but it depends on other clubs. Edison came on at halftime during City's loss to Celtic in Chapel Hill, which was the Premier League champions' opening pre-season game. This has been WeFM's Midday News. I have been your presenter, Rajiv Providence. Join us again at 3 o'clock for WeFM's 3 p.m. news. WeFM's Midday News is brought to you with the kind compliments of Quartz St. Vincent Limited.
Just for you at Quartz Optical. Get 15% off. When you bring in your prescription from any other eye care provider, we'll give you 15% off the cost of your frames and lenses. So visit us today and get 15% off. Offer valid on cash and credit purchases. Conditions apply. See in-store for details. Quartz Optical. Value you can see.